Hello viewers, welcome to the episode on distribution channels in hospitality. A distribution channel is the chain of businesses or intermediaries through which service passes until it reaches the end consumer. A distribution channel can include wholesalers, retailers, distributors and even the internet. Distribution channel is a necessity in business and hospitality is no exception. A distribution channel is a set of independent organizations involved in the process of making a product or service available to the consumer or business user. It is a bidirectional, simultaneous path through which products and services travel from vendors to consumers and payments flow back in the opposite direction. In service industry like hotels, the distribution channels differ from the distribution of physical goods. This difference stems from the nature of hotel services and their production system and consumption patterns. Hotel services require simultaneous production and consumption, meaning the product is not normally moved to the consumer. The consumer has to come to the hotel for consumption of goods and services. This is not the case in manufactured goods. The manufactured goods are transported to the consumer at proper place. We shall discuss in this episode various aspects of distribution channel under 5 different headings, which are growth and development of distribution channels in hospitality, hotel distribution objectives, functions of a distribution channel, number of channel levels and distribution channel strategy. Let us discuss about growth and development of distribution channels in hospitality. There have long been intermediaries in hospitality marketing channels. The one with the longest history is the travel agent. This includes retail agents who dealt with consumers directly and wholesalers who created travel packages including hotel stays. By the end of the 1970s, the travel agency channel used the global distribution systems called GDS provided by the airlines to facilitate airline bookings. Hotel booking capability was an add-on along with car rental. Travel agencies found electronic booking less costly to their operation and began to insist that all products be available for them through these channels. In the early 1980s, GDS volume was less than 2% of all hotel volume, about 2 million reservations, and by 1999 had grown to more than 20%, that is 40 million reservations. In the hotel world, there was an early concern that the airline systems did not have a primary interest in offering hotel bookings through their GDSs because the systems were initially designed to serve airlines only. Offering hotels for sale was a necessary evil to the airlines. In order to accommodate travel agent demands and to be where the bookings were, hotel chains had to build expensive interfaces to each of the major GDS systems. By 1996, Marriott, Hilton and Hyatt each had its own brand specific website. The volume of bookings on these sites skyrocketed and the priority from the time of launch had to be managing a high volume of transactions and inquiries. In 2000, more than 1 in 5 of all hotel room reservations were electronic, that is GDS and internet combined, and 10% to 12% of the total electronic bookings originated from internet sites. Consumers started going online in droves. However, travel agents were still the prime intermediary. Travel agencies still used the GDSs, but there were some big changes underway. The then independent GDS companies, most spun off the airlines, were providing online capability such as corporate intranets, for the agents to replace the legacy GDS technology. Some were starting websites like Travelocity from Sabre and One Travel from Amadeus to serve the consumer markets with the ability to book all travel products, that is air, hotel, car. In the old distribution model, the travel agencies maintained the customer relationships and the GDS vendors managed the connections between suppliers and distributors. In the new model, the same vendor on the internet could manage both. In response to this change, the GDS companies started to acquire sites with direct customer contact so that they could join the rush to dominate the new internet channel before the old GDS technology was eclipsed by it. By 2005, the industry was well into e-commerce era. There were so many types of electronic bookings and associated fees for each that no one could assume any longer that if a booking was transmitted electronically, it must be less costly to deliver. While trying to be more search engine friendly, the large hotel brands were still struggling with website architecture that could keep up with the ever increasing volume of visitors for bookings, information and other activities. The period from 2009 to 2011 was dominated by dramatic growth in the use of social sites for engagement, conversation and also transactions. Facebook's influence on consumers worldwide and the widespread adoption of consumer review sites has made social media a common stop in the travel booking sales path. The entry of the major search players into the travel industry and the sudden shift by consumers to mobile, along with new technologies that facilitate access to online content for travel such as voice and mapping technologies, created another transformation in the 2012-2015 time frame. These changes were driven even more rapidly by a recently discovered and voracious appetite to participate in the travel vertical by large media and consumer product giants such as Apple, Google, Facebook and Microsoft competing alongside the large existing travel players such as Expedia and Priceline. In the current scenario, the internet has fostered the growth of many new distribution channels and the merging of transaction and interaction based sites. Each of these offers opportunities and carries cost. At a difficult economic time when rates are not improving commensurate with rising demand, every revenue center and cost in the mix is being scrutinized. In spite of all the data factored into revenue and channel management tools, hotels have not had the business intelligence or the analytical models needed to analyze their business on a channel level. The torrent of new channels has not abated, and with the aggressive entry into travel in 2011 of some media and technology giants such as Google, Apple and Facebook, along with many new aspiring startups in the meta search, online travel agency, mobile and social media space, hotels can hardly keep up. Hotel distribution objectives. The current objective for any hotel is to minimize the cost of distribution while increasing yield by achieving the optimal channel mix and practicing smarter selling and merchandising. Hotels are seeking revenue that delivers a sustainable profit stream. This calls for a base of recurring business to minimize marketing costs and a highly targeted strategy for identifying and acquiring profitable new customers in a cost-efficient manner. Many hoteliers claim that they are channel agnostic in a world where every channel partner claims its own is the most effective and consumers' use of multiple channels continues to escalate. Some marketers feel that if they try to influence the consumer's choice of channel, they are interfering with Mother Nature, when in fact the most successful will create a bias that provides the consumer with the best experience, a fitting rate, and results that yield a profitable transaction. This scenario brings into sharp relief of a point few will admit out loud, that hotels and their channel partners are not always aligned in terms of their objectives. All are trying to make as much profit as possible, but creating a bias toward one channel or another when demand is relatively flat, which has been for 20 years in hospitality, means that in most cases, through the use of a mixture of channels, one party will gain share at the expense of another. Complicating this issue is the fact that managing so many channels can straitjacket a hotel that needs to be nimble when fine-tuning its demand stream. It is time consuming to assess the net benefits on a daily basis of so many channels effectively, considering rate parity, various commission and inventory guidelines, and differing degrees of marketing potential under different conditions. Each hotel has the responsibility to examine its own potential and seek ways of optimizing its own revenue and profit. Functions of a distribution channel. The primary function of a distribution channel is to bridge the gap between the participating hotel chain and the customer or the guest. A close study of the market is extremely essential. A sound marketing plan depends upon thorough market study. The distribution channel is also responsible for promoting the product, here the rooms and other services. Awareness regarding products and other offers should be created among the customers or guests. Creating contacts or prospective buyers and maintaining liaison with existing ones. Understanding the customer's needs and adjusting the offer accordingly. Negotiate price and other offers related to the product as per the customer demand. Storage and distribution of goods, here the rooms and other services are the goods. Catering to the financial requirements for the smooth working of the distribution chain. Number of channel levels. Distribution is the process of delivering the products manufactured or service provided by a firm to the end user. Various intermediaries are involved in this process. This chain of intermediaries, which helps in transferring the product from one intermediary to the next before it reaches the end user, is called the distribution chain or distribution channel. Each intermediary has a specific role and need which the marketer caters to. The structure of the distribution system may be either direct from the producer to the consumer, or indirect, the sale to the consumer through an intermediary. In direct, there is no intermediary involved, whereas in indirect there is intermediary involved. The structure of the distribution system may be either direct or indirect. The distribution channel can be classified into three types, namely channel 1, that is from manufacturer to consumer, channel 2 from manufacturer to retailer and from retailer to consumer, and channel 3, that is from manufacturer to wholesaler, wholesaler to retailer and from retailer to the ultimate consumer. In hospitality, the manufacturer is hotels, resorts, motels. They are producers of goods and services like food, room, spa, etc. The consumer of these goods and services will be tourists, business travelers, weekend travelers, etc. The challenge is how to get the customer to the consumption site. This unique feature raises the need for a different kind of distribution system in hotels. Hotels may use several different methods to distribute their goods and services. Channel 1 is direct distribution channel where no intermediary is involved. In this case, the hotel has their own channels, partially or wholly owned, that is selling through management and marketing contracts, franchising, sales representatives. Channel 2 and 3 is indirect distribution, that is, it involves intermediaries. In channel 2, one intermediary or retailer is used. A retailer sells goods or services directly to the end user. Retailer buys products or services from the manufacturer or wholesalers. In channel 3, along with retailer, a second member is added to the distribution chain. He is the wholesaler. A wholesaler buys and stores products in bulk from manufacturers. He sells these products in smaller quantities to retailers. The intermediaries in a hotel channel of distribution consist of tour operators, retail travel agents, specialists, consortia, reservation systems, global distribution system, the internet, and concierges. New developments in technology like the internet, global distribution systems make accommodation arrangements instant and more accessible. Direct selling away from the location of production and consumption is on the increase since consumers have more access to the internet and other available information databases. Distribution channel strategy. The factors that influence the choice of distribution channel by a business are market factors. An important market factor is buyer behavior. How do buyers want to purchase the product? Do they prefer to buy from retailers, locally, via mail order, or perhaps over the internet? Another important factor is buyer needs for product information, installation, and servicing. Which channels are best served to provide the customer with the information they need before buying? Does the product need specific technical assistance either to install or service a product? Intermediaries are often best placed to provide servicing rather than the original producer. The willingness of channel intermediaries to market product is also a factor. Retailers in particular invest heavily in properties, shop fitting, etc. They may decide not to support a particular product if it requires too much investment. Example, training, display equipment, warehousing. Another important factor is intermediary cost. Intermediaries typically charge a markup or commission for participating in the channel. This might be deemed unacceptably high for the ultimate producer business. Producer factors. A key question is whether the producer has the resources to perform the functions of the channel. For example, a producer may not have the resources to recruit, train, and equip a sales team. If so, the only option may be to use agents and or other distributors. Producers may also feel that they do not possess the customer-based skill to distribute their products. Many channel intermediaries focus heavily on the customer interface as a way of creating competitive advantage and cementing the relationship with their supplying producers. Another factor is the extent to which producers want to maintain control over how, to whom, and at what price a product is sold. If a manufacturer sells via a retailer, they effectively lose control over the final consumer price since the retailer sets the price and any relevant discounts or promotional offers. Similarly, there is no guarantee for a producer that their product or products are actually being stocked by the retailer. Direct distribution gives a producer much more control over these issues. Product factors. Large complex products are often supplied direct to customers. Example, complex medical equipment sold to hospitals. By contrast, perishable products such as frozen food, meat, bread require relatively short distribution channels, ideally suited to using intermediaries such as retailers. Distribution intensity. There are three broad options: intensive, selective and exclusive distribution. Intensive distribution. Intensive distribution aims to provide saturation coverage of the market by using all available outlets. Intensive distribution is usually required where customers have a range of acceptable brands to choose from. In other words, if one brand is not available, a customer will simply choose another. Selective distribution. Selective distribution involves a producer using a limited number of outlets in a geographical area to sell products. An advantage of this approach is that the producer can choose the most appropriate or best performing outlets and focus effort, example training, on them. Selective distribution works best when consumers are prepared to shop around. In other words, they have a preference for a particular brand or price and will search out the outlets that supply. Exclusive distribution. Exclusive distribution is an extreme form of selective distribution in which only one wholesaler, retailer or distributor is used in a specific geographical area. To conclude, in this episode, under distribution channel, we have learnt the history of intermediaries in hospitality marketing channels. We also learned the objectives and functions of distribution channels, stages and the factors affecting the distribution channels. A distribution channel is a set of independent organizations involved in the process of making a product or service available to the consumer or business user. It is a bidirectional, simultaneous path through which products and services travel from vendors to consumers and payments flow back in the opposite direction. The increasing competition, demands of tourists and highly perishable nature of hotels puts lot of pressure on hoteliers in choosing an effective distribution channel. Thank you.